Boo, 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 boo. Happy Bow Tie Friday. I'm here. We got Superphiz. We got Unvetica. We got a whole crew here from the ETH Staker, ETH2 kind of Colfax. We got Colfax. We got some folks here to talk to the BuidlGuidl / Moonshot folks. So we've got some builders that have been building stuff, and then we've got some ETH Staker folks. So I think we'll just do like the first half an hour or so, just like rapping about ETH Staker, asking questions. And then maybe the back half, we'll do like Scaffold ETH demos. If you've been building something on Scaffold ETH, we could throw it in. So what's up, Superphiz? How's it going, man?
Hey, how are you, Austin?
Good.
I'm excited to hang out with your crew. It's kind of the highlight of my my Friday.
No bow tie though. That's good.
Oh, you just use RTX voice.
Wait, what? Wait.
Clap
what?
again. Clap. Oh,
What
so
does it do?
It silences the the chatter. Are you using RTX voice?
Yeah, well, like I have the audio here, and then I have a mic here, so I don't even know. I don't know what RTX voice is. Zoom noise cancellation could be that.
Yeah, it's incredible noise cancellation. It blows me. So our buddy Nolan is here. Uses it. He can run a hairdryer beside his mic.
Kevin needs that.
And he's talking, and you can hear every word perfectly. It's just it's the coolest thing. Yeah. So
Waki has this situation where he has this fan that runs on his laptop, and it's like and you can hear it all. So he needs some better noise cancellation. Well,
so the bummer is it's Windows only, and I cannot I cannot sell my soul to the devil. So I just tolerate hair dryers beside my mic. So yeah, it's good to be here.
What's up? What about, I want to say thank you to Shannon. I think Shannon, like you kind of organized this. You brought us together today. Good work. You kind of gave us both the nudge to kind of come show up and do this thing on Bow Tie Friday. So shout out to Shannon. Maybe even you could start us off with a question if you want to be part of the QA. Up to you.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Well, I first want to thank Austin and Superphiz for being here and really giving me the opportunity to, chat with y'all and continue to learn. But I have happened to prepare a few questions. We can go through these like basic questions for the BuidlGuidl, and then we can like go off with any other curious questions, etc. So if you don't mind, Fiz, we can start off with kind of like, what's the kind of like, how do we get into staking, right? Like, do we need like a super advanced like hardware setup? Like, what exactly is like, how difficult is it for someone to get into staking who's never staked before?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so it's one of the things I try to focus on a lot. I'm always about pushing the state of the stake. And I have a really shoddy YouTube playlist that is like me talking about where we're at right now. And so to begin with, staking on, by the way, hello, I'm so glad you connected us. I was like, it took me a while to get my head wrapped around it, but I appreciate you plugging these pieces together. Staking on Ethereum is designed to work on consumer grade hardware. And it's one of the changes or one of the differences between some of the other networks that, my buddies and I tried to set up a Filecoin miner, and we had like 8K in hardware, and it was still like a little underpowered. But coming to staking on the Beacon chain with Ethereum, you can literally do that with an Intel NUC. So I kind of encourage people spend about $1,000 on hardware, but we have lots of people who are staking on Raspberry Pis, and they are killing it with Raspberry Pis. It makes me a little uncomfortable just because, I want people to use enough horsepower that they're not going to feel like they're dragging later. But I know Joe Klappis is one of the developers for Rocket Pool, and he swears by the Raspberry Pi, and it works great. So he is literally staking on $35 hardware. You're also buying, a couple $100 SSD for that. But yeah, he's staking for about $300, maybe $400. I'm not sure how much that drive costs. You do want to use, I would strongly recommend a 2 terabyte fast drive, and that's NVMe or a fast SSD. do not even consider platters. It's just not going to happen. You want to have, I would strongly suggest 16 gigs of RAM. I feel like 8 is a little underpowered. 32 is too much. 16 gigs is great. And you want to have a modernish processor. That is, an i7 that's less than 5 years old. But if you could do it on a Pi, and then the Pi runs Nimbus. And if we have a chance to talk about client diversity, I'll talk about why it's awesome to run Nimbus. But so the hardware is it's not a big deal. And right now the gap is accessibility. And that's really ETHStaker's current focus is reducing the accessibility for staking to people who are not really comfortable with a command line, or maybe you have $100,000 in ETH and you're a little concerned about like pressing, RM-RF, and nixing it. So that's an understandable concern. And what we're working on right now is making that easier.
It's about decentralization, though. I feel like the key here is decentralization. The reason why this is consumer-grade hardware is so anyone can run it. The reason why it's super easy, and the EVM is actually, a pretty simple thing and doesn't F around with floating point math. All of these things are leaning toward decentralization. When you're talking about client diversity, decentralization, like if one client craps the bed, we want other clients to still be there. We don't want to be super homogenous, right?
Yeah,
that's
awesome. We want people to do this at home. Like we want people to take your 32 Ether, stake at home, run your hardware. I mean, honestly, you can practically forget that it's there. Once every month, you're going to get a notification from Beacon Chain saying, "Hey, there's a new release of your staking client," and then you upgrade. But it is when you get it running, it is stupid simple. I acknowledge that the hurdle to getting it running is a 2-hour endeavor, but set aside a Saturday. Yeah, and if you've got 32
the 32 ETH is the thing I wanted to dive into. If you have a Saturday, you can definitely sit down and put this in. But the 32 ETH is tough, right?
Yeah.
Can we lean into that a little bit and say, well, like if I can do this on $1,000 piece of hardware, but I have to stake $100,000 to even participate, like, why did they choose 32? Why not? Like, I feel like four ETH would be about the sweet spot right now for people.
Yeah. I think decentralization is hard. And the more nodes that you have communicating, the more chatter there is on the network. And with more chatter, the processing needs increase. And so 32 ETH it's this kind of midpoint between the number of validators that the network can support and the amount of Ether that a normal person can come up with. Honestly, I don't know how many normal people can come up with 32 Ether right now, but what we do have are people who have been, working on this for a while, who have been stacking ETH for a couple of years. And it's one of those things, if you're committed, if it's something that you really want to do, you can stake 32 Ether. Well, and that's not fair because not everybody can. And that's why I'll tell you where ETHStaker has kind of shifted into looking at these third-party solutions. Like what can I do if I have 4 ETH and I want to contribute to the health of the network?
What's the answer to that? That's a great question to answer.
Yeah, so you can stake with a decentralized, trustless, and open source staking service. And so we're promoting those in the ecosystem. Right now, one is coming. Actually, Rocket Pool is scheduled to launch October 6th. It will be the first generation of this type of solution. And so I feel like it's well worth looking at. And so Rocket Pool essentially allows an operator with 16 Ether to stake wherever they are. So I could stake with my 16 Ether from my house. And I'm interacting with a smart contract. And in that smart contract, if you have 4 ETH, you deposit that 4 ETH. And it's going to combine those packets together into 132 ETH. It's going to use a smart contract to delegate that to my node. And I'm going to stake on your behalf. The beauty of this, it's an open source platform. It's trustless because no person ever has access to your ETH. And it's decentralized because these node operators are still people everywhere. They're not in some silo where I'm running 40,000 validators on one machine, which is inherently unsafe for the network.
Just to echo and expand on that a little bit more, that's why eStaker focuses so much and advocates for the use of solo staking first, right? It's reinforcing the use or the practice of decentralization. These staking pool solutions are great for, it lowers the bar to enter in terms of the investment part of things, but it takes away from the overall decentralization. If we only have 3 or 4 pools for staking, we're just centralizing the protocol more. So this is all to say, to kind of do your own research, that staking pool services as they are today are not created equal. There are different variations of this in terms of custodial of your funds, what it means for access, things like that. So that's why it's always great to solo stake first. And then if you can't make that 32 ETH minimum, look into staking pool solutions.
I think we're really at the beginning of staking solutions. And when Austin's like, hey, you want to talk to BuidlGuidl? I'm like, yes, because what I'm looking for are people who are willing to build solutions to bring staking closer to the end user. And that's Colfax works with us through Stakehouse. And the goal of Stakehouse is to develop tools that make staking more accessible to end users. And at any chance I get to talk to a builder, I'm like, hey, let me tell you what we need. Because, Colfax is focusing with Stakehouse on GUI type solutions for people who have 32 ETH. And eventually, actually soon, I'm looking for client switching so that we can, let's say I learned how to run the beacon chain on Prism, but now I know that Prism is like 70% of the network. What do I do? What I'm looking for is a provider or a builder who can say, here's a button, click it, and it's going to help your system migrate from Prism to Teku. And you don't have to worry about your Ether because you know that this path has been trodden 1,000 times and it's going to work.
That migrate the data too? Like you've spent a lot of time syncing the chain and it migrates, or it's like moving over and resyncing?
Well, and that's where the complication is. There's not currently a well-defined data interchange format. And so it's one of the
cool thing about some clients is they're more or less stateless, right? Like some of them are less stateless than others. Yeah.
And they're all moving toward that. If I had a chance to push the implementation team in any direction, it would be toward that data interchange format. However, that team is so well led by Danny that like I trust their goals better than I trust my intuition of what I want to happen. So they're going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to work in the user space to increase access for everyone. And what we can do in the user space, if that means that you need to plug in an external drive for like some swap space kind of stuff to sync 2 chains for a while, then whatever. But what I know is our role as a community is to provide those switching solutions so that we're doing our part to increase diversity. And we're also looking at, big providers like Kraken. Like we want them to choose a minority client. It's not just home users. And so, we're looking at the whole scope of responsibility in this.
So speaking of pools, do you say something like Lido, those other solutions are coming in what people can like give off their ETH, small ETH, especially since they don't have like say 32 ETH, and offload a lot of the burden of like maintenance and everything to another service. And you guys are kind of trying to stop, like, because that's not really decentralized, and that's becoming a big problem when ETH 2.0 does come in. It's not, people are thinking it's not really going to be that decentralized because there's like a few providers that are making like massive pools. And how would you kind of help for somebody who doesn't have 32 ETH to say decentralize the pools. Maybe there's some sort of application of, oh, you have like maybe a whole bunch of people have each 5 ETH and they're putting it into a service that's decentralized from another service, and that happens, like that's offloaded. That
yeah,
it would be cool to have a list of how decentralized these secondary staking pools are, right?
These
like
are so interesting.
Just like a leaderboard.
We worked with the Ethereum Due Diligence Committee, and I think that committee right now, ethdc.org, is kind of on the fritz. I don't know how it's going to unfold. I do know that Beacon Chain has a list of providers, but this idea that the holds are centralized, I would say the last time I looked and I tweeted about it, 70% of the stake was listed as unknown, which is essentially either home stakers or just literally unknown. Kraken and another provider have like 15% total. So we are a decentralized network. We're still very decentralized. And what I'm going to say is, I don't care how decentralized we become. I'm still going to say every single day we need to be more decentralized. Like, I'm never going to stop that. When it comes to providers that aren't perfect, I don't expect providers to be perfect. So if you want to stake, and I want you to stake with a provider that works for you. And in that process, hold high expectations for them. So Lido has a roadmap for becoming more decentralized. I think we should hold them to that, pressure them, encourage them. Hey, we like your product. We want you to be part of the community. What we need from you is for you to improve client diversity and improve decentralization. Because as much as we might point to one solution and say, so other than solo staking, when it comes to third-party providers, if we pick one and say, this is the best way to go, we're centralizing. Like, we're doing it wrong. So we need to look at all of these providers and say, hey, you're all welcome, but we're going to hold all of you to a high standard. So this is the thing that you're missing right now. You're using a client that is a majority client, or you're centralizing all of the stakes in one location. So you had mentioned this idea of like 5 friends who want to come together. There's a great technology for that right now. It's SSV, developed by Blocks Staking, and it is in testnet right now, but it's not far from live. And essentially, you can combine with friends. Say, I have 5 neighbors in my town. We come together. We get 32 Ether. You can then do like a 4 of 7 signature scheme, so that you're all running a validator, but no one person controls access to that until you come together.
Those are the BLS signatures, right? It's the joy of BLS signatures. Yeah, I feel like Danny Ryan dropped me on that one the other day. I was like, whoa, it's going to be cool to be able to do that.
BLS. So I'm more or less a layman, but everything I learn about BLS, like it just blows my mind repeatedly. Like it was an excellent choice for a signature scheme. And so I think that in the coming years, we're just going to see more and more like benefit from that.
Yep. And I just want to jump in talking about decentralizing staking pools and then having multiple staking pool options that are all decentralized, decentralization all around. What we're working on at eStaker is building tools that are like an option for people to say switch clients, install their infrastructure, stuff like that. But we're also encouraging builders to build the same tools, different versions. So like decentralize the tools as well. And then also come up with new ideas for tools that'll help stakers. And sort of just get more stuff out there for people to use. And so that way we can promote more at-home stakers. 100 ETH is, or sorry, not 100, $100,000, 32 ETH, definitely a barrier. But sort of as we like continue these conversations, build more tools, encourage the existing tools to become more decentralized, I think we're moving in the right direction.
ETH Staker is the community. Stakehouse are our builders, and Colfax leads our builders. Colfax, can you give people an idea how, like, if they have this thing inside their gut that is like, I really should be doing something to improve decentralization, how can people get involved with Stakehouse, and what kind of things do you need?
Absolutely. So we're looking for passionate builders that want to contribute to decentralization and lowering the technical bar to staking on Ethereum. You can find us on the eStaker Discord in the Stakehouse channel. So that's discord.io/estaker. We also actually hold a community call every other week. Our next one's on Wednesday, where we just share ideas, share like sort of updates on projects that we are working on, similar to what we're about to go into here, I think. And then we also just share ideas for like different future projects we could work on to sort of help the network and things like that. So talking about client switching and how we can switch clients more quickly and not have to like sync, but quickly and safely. Like Teku has this cool new feature. It was new a few months ago, this fast sync endpoint feature, where you can actually like pull state from an endpoint to sync much more quickly. Like, can we maybe work with the other clients to create like a fast sync endpoint for their nodes as well? Like, these are kind of the ideas that come up. Always need for more developers to jump on these things. So if you're passionate about it, yeah, just feel free to either reach out to me, jump on our Discord, come to our community call, and let's build.
Dope. Unvetica, do you have to drop at the top, the half of the hour? Can I do a demo before you leave? Just because it's something that gets everybody to chip in. Okay, so now we're blending. Now we're blending the Q&A, ETH staker, and demo time. But I want to show off something that Varun built with Bliss and a couple other dudes at the Moonshot Collective, which is basically like, if there's a Venn diagram, the Moonshot Collective and the BuidlGuidl are very similar, and they're kind of all combining in weird ways. But I want to show you, so we're building a lot of these like coordination tools to help coordinate in a decentralized way. And so I want to hold what we're calling a tip party. But if you guys go to tip.party in your browser, I can paste it into the chat if I can find it too. If you just go to tip.party, and the next thing you do is you'll land here on the app. Why does it say pay your contributors? There it is, sign in. Wait, I don't know. Oh, because I'm an admin. It's just saying I'm an admin, huh? Okay, anyways, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a secret message that we can share, and it's just gonna be Superphiz, SUPERPHIZ, Superphiz. Everyone see me doing that? Now I can just say that over the call, and everyone else can sign that Superphiz message, right? And then I will have an admin panel over here watching for all y'all to sign in. Make sure you connect your wallet and you have your nice ENS address. That might be a filter here. I'm looking for ENS addresses to sign in. But what happens here is we can get everyone to sign up. Oh, look at those nice ENS addresses, looking good. So go ahead, go to tip.party, type in Superphiz, hit sign. And by doing that, we will get you on this list. And then what I'm going to do is drop a couple GTC to everyone just as a thank you. Buy you guys a beer for showing up. It's a tool to let us tip people that show up for calls, but it also is, what I find is a great way to get a list of addresses together. If we want to like drop something else or something over the call. And these guys built this in the last couple of weeks for this purpose. And it's going to be open source and available for everyone to fork and play around with. Look at all those addresses. Awesome. Look at all those addresses. And I'm going to do this, whoever 6D5B is. Sorry, bro. You got to have that. Oh, is that you? This is my civil resistance, is basically reverse resolving ENS addresses. All right. Thank you, Unvetica, for showing up. I'm going to do this distribution probably without the camera on, but what I'll do is I will select GTC and I will put in some amount and I will hit distribute and it will go to everyone. So that's how tip.party works. And if you want a tip.party for your group, hit us up and the Moonshot Collective can deploy you some stuff. Thank you, Unvetica. There he goes. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Word. Good job, Varun, who's on the call today. And probably, I don't think Bliss is on the call, but Bliss.
Yeah, also Fahim.
All right. Fahim is on the call, cool, right? Guys. Yeah, my dude. Awesome. So, and we can lean into that a little bit more. We're going to pay out quadratic diplomacy today at noon, I think, right? Using another build from the Moonshot. One of our first builds was, how do we pay people that build stuff? And so we built this thing where each milestone, when it's time to pay out a milestone, everyone gets together on a call like this. We do a tip party, so we get everyone's list. Then we put that list into this other program that hands out votes to everyone. Then everyone votes, and then we use the quadratic formula for Gitcoin grants, the kind of quadratic dampening. And basically people are voting for how we should pay out the money. So first milestone, it's going to be $5,000 worth of GTC. I'm going to lock that up. Everyone has been voting over the last like 48 hours. And then I'm going to distribute it to how the quadratic math decides that we should pay out with people's votes. So that's another awesome build going on. These guys are killing it.
You know, the precursor to this or a difference, is Sablier. And that's a really neat tool, but it doesn't really give you that milestone access. So that's very impressive.
We're using Sablier too. Like ERC20 streams are very useful. Yeah. That's an awesome. Yeah. So the one hook we put on streams is in the BuidlGuidl. When you have money streaming to you, there's another mechanic where you have to withdraw the funds and you have to turn in kind of a PR or a GitHub link or like kind of what you've been working on. And it gives us this giant list of what everybody's been working on. It helps us kind of price our work and it helps us like keep track of our work. So it's like a Sablier stream, but you have to withdraw and turn in your work and withdraw the funds.
Okay. So can I turn it a little bit?
Sure.
Moonshot Collective. Like,
yep.
I'm excited.
No
idea
cool.
what I don't know.
What is it?
Yes.
It's like, okay. So I would say like Scaffold ETH is the tool, right? And then around the tool, we started realizing it's this nice DApp template. And we started building all these starter kits. And I realized that I needed to incentivize folks that were building these starter kits and these generic components. So the BuidlGuidl showed up and I started streaming ETH to people for doing, just building cool things and contributing back to Scaffold ETH. And then Owaki kind of came in and wanted to be a multiplier to that and start the new Moonshot Collective. So I feel like they're very similar things, but it's just kind of like, I would say it's the Moonshot Collective is BuidlGuidl times Owaki. And that means like capital and memes and everything that Owaki brings.
I feel so much potential there. Like capital and builders paired efficiently is like stellar.
Get out of the way. Pair developers with capital and get out of the way.
Because I mean, that's what they need. That is the fuel. And when you get the fuel to the engine, then you're going to have combustion. I'm building a car right now. So
great really, analogy.
I'll make it up.
So a couple good builds. I don't know who is, I think Viraz, do you have a bonding curve thing you want to show off maybe?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Cool. If you, feel free to share a screen.
Yeah.
So we've been thinking about in Moonshot, Owaki's pushing hard towards like or just like thinking more about how we do better curation of grants. And that led to how kind of GRT is doing their curation of their subgraphs and they're using bonding curves and kind of setting it up. So there's like this curation process that happens because of capitalism, right? Like you know the one that you think is going to be good, so you buy it and it goes up and it's more valuable. So to lay the groundwork for that, we've been revisiting one of our bonding curve tutorials and Viraz is kind of setting it up. So we want a very easy like bonding curve starting kit. So then we can use that to build out some of this curation material. You take it away, Viraz, if you're up for it.
Yep, I'm just sharing my screen.
Dope.
Yeah, I think you need to change your setting to.
Oh no, it's me. You're right. I'm sorry. It's good now.
You guys able to view?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is basically this is basically the bonding curve starter branch, and I'll just show off. Very straightforward right now, but we have another upgraded version of it, in the works, right? So that will be out soon as well. So basically, just giving a context to everyone, this branch uses the Banker formula, right, to calculate the token price while you're minting and while you're burning. So when you mint it, as more people mint, it gets more costly, and opposite while people, burn out. So basically what you start off by locking your ETH into a contract like an escrow, and then you have your tokens minted, right? We have a smile token here, which is on a bonding curve, right? You get that minted, and then yeah, you can send it to anyone. It's just an ERC20 token, but when you burn, you get your ETH back based on how much you are burning based on the price, current price, and yeah, that's how it works. And with Bancor formula basically works with a couple of factors, which is total supply, obviously, and a new factor, which is the reserve ratio, which basically determines the price sensitivity. So lower the ratio, the more volatile the price is. And right now it's 30%. So I'll just mint a couple of, some tokens of, and yeah.
Thank you for the explanation of a reserve ratio. I feel like I didn't totally. So the bigger reserve ratio, the less volatile it is. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just giving myself some ETH on my burner wallet. So, yeah, I'll lock some of my ETH in, and yeah. Yeah, so I locked about 0.001 ETH, and I got about 105 smile tokens, which is again on a bonding curve, right? And if I just mint more, you will see the price getting just slightly costlier.
It should get more expensive as we go, right? And then what a cool demo would be is like have player one buy one, and then have player two buy a few more, and then have player one sell their original one, and we should see that they like make a profit on that, right? That'd be a fun demo. But yeah, you're doing it.
Yeah, so it got more expensive. First time I got 105 tokens. Now I got about 44, right? And now I can burn some, and I'll get my ETH back as well. And yeah, just burn some.
Did you say it went from 105 to 44? That's a steep curve.
Yeah. So because it's right now, it's just 1 year. I am minting, right? And I think those factors also come into place. And yeah, we have, just to give some more context, we have another like upgraded branch, in the works, which is a emoji feast kind of a thing, where we have multiple about 6-7 emoji tokens, where people and a leaderboard as well. So based on the price of all the emoji tokens we have, we rate them on a leaderboard, so people can play around with it, mint some, and we'll see how much what's the price in there, and then we have organized the leaderboard accordingly. So we have that branch, and that should be out pretty soon, for everyone to probably use. That's
awesome, man. Good work. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm excited to revive the emojicoin.exchange. I did an emoji coin exchange a long time ago. I feel like we could do a bonding curve like mainnet version or something, and that would be a lot of fun. Be a little weird. Good work for Oz. Any questions?
Yeah.
I think maybe we have Paul, who is a visitor, who just did a hackathon, I think, using Scaffold ETH, and is possibly showing off their hackathon build. Maybe.
Paul, can you hear me? Okay.
Yep, we gotcha.
Okay, nice. It's very late here, so if I sound like I'm asleep, it's because it's nearly 1 a.m.
Oh man, but yeah. Sorry.
So okay, I have zero. Oh my, I'm showing everything. Jesus, I'm bad at this. Where are we? Okay, so yeah. So it's kind of simple, and also I have zero experience with tech demos and really with coding in general, so just be very gentle. But yeah, so a general idea, I've been getting involved in the kind of NFT craze like everyone else has, and what I noticed was a lot of, other than JPEG, like a lot of communities struggle to have any reason to have someone hang around. It's like nice picture or sell. Like there's either price go up or picture's pretty. Like there's no reason. And my idea was to have AMAs where they can speak with the community and be the creator themselves, assure that the people talking to them own the token. So it's not just random people coming in, but also the community members can feel like I don't know, their token has some functionality beyond just price or the JPEG picture itself. But yeah, it's pretty simple. I think, Austin, you obviously created the original sign in with Ethereum thing. But yeah, you just sign in. I think I might already be signed in on here. Not on mainnet. Robson, please. But yeah, so it's all set up on Robson at the minute, just because I have some fake tokens that we can play around with. So yeah, you sign in just as usual, and you sign a message, which goes to a backend, which just stores the user's address and their sign-in stuff. But yeah, then you can create an AMA, just any, whatever, BuidlGuidl. Can I spell?
It's a hard one to spell.
Stress. Sure, no. Yes, no.
Good enough.
Hi. Give up. And yeah, just any token. You could be an ERC20 or a ERC721 or whatever. We're gonna update to have like amounts, because especially with ERC20s, like if someone has 0.0001, there's obviously issues with that. But yeah, you can just put a token here and it makes an AMA, and anyone can read the AMAs themselves. But when it comes to adding a question, so iguanas aren't real. Sure. So this checks with Infura on the Robson network, the address that signed the original thingy, the original message is the address that owns whatever token. Interesting Iguanas, my fake NFT program I made. But yeah, so yeah, Iguanas aren't real. So if I logged out and tried to post a message, it would fail miserably. But yeah, this is just the basic thing, and it's probably not that exciting for people who know what they're doing. But no, this was just my baby that me and a friend have created, and any feedback would be great on where to go from here.
Were there any Robson transactions that really had to happen there? Like, doesn't this all kind of exist off chain? Like,
oh no, the Robson stuff was literally just making the ERC 20,
like checking to make sure they have the ERC20, right?
Yeah,
but technically you could, yeah. This gives this and many other apps I've seen give utility to a token without touching the blockchain, which is really, really interesting.
Yeah,
it's read only.
The only blockchain that was
signatures
used was to create the tokens themselves, just so you can mint test ones if you wanted to play around, rather than having to use real tokens themselves. So yeah, it'd be very easy to just move it all to mainnet and just have people like try out whatever tokens they want to try out.
Yeah, we could set this up for GTC. I'll tell Owaki he'll be interested in this.
Nice.
Paul, thanks a lot, man. Great hackathon project. I feel like that's a hackathon project. That's a good hackathon project. That's, you know them when you see them.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Isaac has something maybe to share. If we could hand it over, not a live demo, but something. Oh, you're sharing your chat there. Be careful. There we go. Good work. Thank you, Paul, for stopping by. So did you win the hackathon, Paul? Like, are you still waiting to find out? What do you?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure when results are. I think it closed Tuesday.
Okay.
But yeah, we're waiting for it.
Is that the one where I had a bounty for using the sign in with ETH?
Yes, I believe it was.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you may possibly win
rather than I know.
ETH. Yeah, well, I don't. I'm very disorganized.
If you don't know, then I probably don't know either.
One day someone will come to me and they will say, here's all the cool things that people built with Scaffold ETH. You should pick one, and I will pick it and send an ETH. And if it doesn't happen like that, you're probably just going to get an ETH from me because you're the only one I know. We'll find it out. We'll figure it out.
Perfect.
Isaac, what do you got for us, man? How are you doing? What are you working on?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, let me just share my screen real quick. I'm not sure what you guys can see. It will see like a testnet OpenSea or.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. So I talked about it. I worked on it maybe 2 weeks back now, but this is the first BuidlGuidl sort of session where it's sort of brought up. So I don't have it currently running because there's a Heroku server that. Well, I'm using the free tier, so it goes to sleep. So that's, and I need to wake it up. But essentially what happens here, I think maybe a couple, like one of the branches that I worked on previously was using, an SVG that you can generate on chain. And so I worked on that with Adam. who released Bernie Boys, and so they're saving a massive SVG on chain, but they're limited by how much they can do because there's a maximum string size. And essentially what I wanted to do was to have a proof of concept for what you can do if you want to do a similar concept, but you want to store that SVG on a server somewhere. And then also in addition to that, let's say you want to have that same sort of on-chain interaction. So I want to understand, I want to be able to log interactions on-chain data, but then post that through the SVG. And essentially what happens here, so this is a sample SVG on what you could make. So currently I have it set up so that, if you tip a certain address, your address that you tipped with will show up in this NFT essentially. And so all that's happening in the background is that, I have a Heroku server up here. It takes in your address through Alchemy. And so Alchemy has a really nice sort of, it will scrape essentially all these addresses for you. And then now I can push in this address. And what I do currently is just a weird word cloud thing. And so if you donate more, your sort of address becomes larger. And so you have very simple interaction for an off-chain dynamic NFT. And so you can build more complex things if you want. So this is just pushing an address, right, in string format, but you could easily use it for, let's say, a seed. So you can use it as a seed to change whatever image it may be. So it's not just SVGs, right? You could have it easily a PNG, and with an off-chain server, you can do anything you want. Not necessarily in the spirit of decentralization, but it does expand capacity or capabilities. So yeah.
That's totally the question I would dive into is, where are the bottlenecks of decentralization? And you are relying on a few services there. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. So you're relying on a free Heroku, hence why I can't really, that's why it's not live, because I didn't pay for that. And then also Alchemy. So if any of those services are down, then your NFT's not completely toast, but it won't be live. So I think OpenSea has a really nice, it does save caches of previous iterations, but it won't be the most live version. So there are caveats, of course.
Awesome. Anybody else? I have a few things that I can show off just because there's some fun branches going on with Scaffold ETH. But if you, maybe we have Stormy, maybe? Maybe I missed that. Stormy, do you have a demo or? Yes, he does. Okay, let's have a Stormy demo. We got 10 minutes left. I can show off some things at the end. Here he goes, I think. Let's see. I'm stealing the screen just for a second to show that this was paid out, and I sent a couple beers to everyone. I probably paid a little bit too much in gas, and we probably want to figure out maybe if I do this from another account and I float it with a lower gas fee and let it take time. You don't necessarily need to pay out on the call live. If you could just float that transaction and wait, but spending $150 to buy y'all beers, I don't know. Let's see. All right, Stormy, are you you got something? Yeah, there he is. Here we go. Oh, I know what this is. I don't know if his mic is working. There he is.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So on Sunday, I was thinking about the Loot project. I don't know if anyone here know it, but I think so. So basically, with the Loot project, you were minting one bag of items, and the price of the NFT skyrocketed to I think the floor right now is 6 ETH maybe. Anyway, the concept of the Loot project is really interesting, and the creator is building something that allow other projects to build on top of the Loot project. So they just released something that has a bag with items, and you can create any kind of game that use those items inside the bag. And I was thinking that the biggest problem with this project is that no one can afford, at least me, can afford a floor price like that. And so I thought that if the item is the center of every other project, we can try to unloot those items from the bag and try to exchange, sell, send, whatever you want with those items. And so owning single items could be more affordable than owning the whole bag. And maybe you don't need the whole bag, all those items, because you want to mix and match items from different bags. And so the concept was to build something that allow people to unloot the bag and do whatever we want with those NFTs. So I created the contract that is still based on, that interact with the loot contract. And when you mint a new bag, for example, I'm going to mint one, claim, it was the, so I hope that I eat this one right. So I'm simulating on the ring connector what you're going to do in the mainnet. The loot contract is the same contract that is deployed on the mainnet. So it's like I'm interacting with it if there was still available. And so I'm going to mint one loot as I was doing on the mainnet. And if you go to your loot list, you see that you have a bag 3, a bag 5, and I think that maybe the bag 2 is you are the owner, Austin. I sent you like yesterday, I think. So the idea is that I have the bag 5 and I want to unloot that. So my contract is an ERC 721 that is taking the loot bag as an input and is unbundling that loot bag as an input, minting one single item for each item that was contained in the loot bag. And in order to do that, what you need to do is to firstly approve my own contract to handle your item, your bag. And when I've done that, you can unloot the item. So when you go and you unpack the item, so the 5th bag, you should get 8 different items in your smart contract. Let's see if it works. Okay, so I have 8 items that, if you can check that those were the same item contained in the original bag, and you can do whatever you want with this item. The only thing that is needed is other contracts that was interacting with the loot project will interact with the same one. And in my contract, you can get those metadata for each item, and you know which type of item it is, like for example, a ring, a sword, and so on, and you know to which original loot bag it was bounded to. So now you can do whatever you want, and you can send those items to everyone. But another thing that you can do, because for every reason you want to repack again with the original one, you can go to the contract and go from, so the UX is not perfect, but from 33 to 40, and you can repack them in the original one. 33,
oh man, does it require
34.
like a ton of approves though?
No, because
okay.
I'm the no, you don't.
You're still the owner of all of them, and you're doing it within that one contract. Okay, it's within the unlooted loot contract. Okay,
yeah. And at this time, I'm still my contract is the owner of the bag, so I'm going to check that you are the owner of all these items, and those items are from the same original bag. And when all the checks go in, I'm going to burn all those items, and I'm going to transfer back the original bag to you. Back to you. So I didn't check if everything got okay, and you're going to get back the same original item. So this is the main concept of bundling and unbundling. And I know that this is maybe simple, but this is my first smart contract developed from my own, from the scratch. It was really cool to do that.
Yeah, no, this isn't simple. This is awesome, dude. And this was like, so a couple people in the space did a similar build. And I think that should be like your validation that you're on the right track and you were thinking about this correctly. Like there are other versions of this that went live. But this is a really good idea, and it's not a simple build. It's a good build. Like this is the kind of build that catches on in the space. So keep it up and keep building these things. This was a great idea. Any closing? Let me share my screen one more time for a little bit. Any closing questions there before I share my screen? Anybody have anything to dive in on before I close it up with a couple things?
My friends and I are in the back channel being like, we want to be here all the time.
I was just going to say
cool
that. This
stuff,
is dope.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Can we come again? I don't know. How do we join the Build Guild?
It's kind of, well, you join the Build Guild by building something with Scaffold ETH. All you have to do is build something with Scaffold ETH, and you kind of get into the Build Guild. There's a lot of things going on. We usually do like every other Friday. We usually sit down and do one of these sessions where we jam through like builds that are going on. I just wanted to highlight a couple. One of them came up was the Bernie Boys. Isaac was talking about how Bernie Boys work. If you get into all Scaffold ETH projects are shaped almost exactly the same, but if you get in here and look at this metadata generator, you can see that he's like even putting emojis right into the SVG that gets rendered. So there's the SVG getting rendered. And then zooming in on that, if you haven't seen Loogies yet, Loogies were another project. They're just, if you just search Loogie in the in the Scaffold ETH,
my problem is these are so exciting. I can't stop myself. You know what I mean? Like, you messaged me about Bernie Boys, and I was like, dude, I can't keep like leaking everything that I hold on these things that are so interesting. Loogies.
Are these interesting? Are these really interesting? So the cool thing
funny.
about Loogies,
it's fun.
Yeah,
okay, so you're probably like me. Like, I'm in this space for fun. Like, I want to have fun, but at some point, there's this money concept, and I'm like, can I spend $50,000 on a Loogie?
Loogies. I know. Don't do
it. Maybe I could.
But dude, you can sweep Loogies off the floor for $60 right now. That's a heck of a deal. What I wanted to show here is for the coders. Look at this. So this is the Loogie. The Loogie branch is like a really, really, really straightforward, simple example of how you do an SVG and an NFT. So look at this. There's the SVG. I mean, you can see clearly, like, here is the one eye, and then here's the head, and then here's the other eye. And I'm using its chubbiness to show how wide it is. And I'm using the color to show the color. It's a super
I legit
simple,
love code that I could write.
Right?
It's
this
if I could write it,
image. Yes.
I
this
could
makes
create a
a picture. You could create a Loogie. This creates a picture in Solidity. And then it packages that picture up here and puts it into a manifest. So it creates an SVG file, and then it creates a JSON file of the manifest. So there's two kind of things going on there. So when OpenSea asks for how this thing is displayed, it gets the token URI, it looks through all this information, it grabs the image, and then it displays that image. So that, like, very, very straightforward, simple code. If I back up one directory and we go to the contract itself, it just brings in that metadata generator. And this came, like, Adam did most of the work, and I think Adam probably got it from Uniswap. Like, we're not the inventors here, we're just the carriers of the torches of the Loogies. But you can see I did like a little random here, and here's where that token URI stuff comes from. So yeah, check out Loogies if you want to build an SVG NFT, which you should, because I'm gonna have another set of, like, the Loogies were only red and green, and I'm going to bring in a blue color and do Bloogies probably. And I'll do little eggs, and you'll have to mix a Loogie and a Bloogie to get some new NFT that will be like a whole bodied animal or something like that. Some kind of breeding where its width is actually bred on chain in Solidity. But we'll get to that. The slow steps. The last branch I want to show, we're at the top of the hour, is the Nosis Safe starter kit. It's something we've talked about before. It's something we've talked on the Nosis Safe, or on the Moonshot Collective. I just want to make sure that builders are aware of this Nosis Safe. The reason why this is so important is you can prototype DAO builds without building a complicated smart contract. Instead of building an intricate DAO into Solidity first, you can basically have the intricate DAO interaction or experience happen in the front end, where the person just gets in and does some kind of front-endy thing, and it just settles to a Nosis Safe. So they're just signing transactions on a Nosis Safe. but you make the experience feel like it's a DAO. Oh man, my dog just farted. It's so bad. Oh my gosh, my eyes are watering. Okay, but what can you do with a Gnosis Safe starter kit? Asgard, who might not be on the call, created a Gnosis Safe results oracle. So when a DAO says we need this thing to happen, we need thing A to get built. And what the DAO can do is drop 5 ETH into this results oracle, and then just assign a few people from the community as oracles. And then the oracles have just this simple front end that says, did this thing happen? And they can say yes or no. And if they say yes, it signs a transaction and settles on the safe to distribute the money. If they say no, then they vote to sign the transaction to send it back. But just a simple thing you can build with a simple front end. But now we have a results oracle. And when a DAO needs to deploy something and have some result get rewarded with ETH, they can do it in a decentralized way. And we didn't have to build a complicated contract. We could just settle to a Gnosis Safe. All right, that's my shill. That's my shill. Hearts, everyone. Thanks for being here. Any closing thoughts?
I'm so delighted that you shared curiosity for staking. Like, we're so excited to share staking and decentralization. So glad that you invited us. Thank you.
Thank you, Superphiz and crew.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, guys. See you.